As he retires this year from the company he started 32 years ago, Dave Mona is easily one of, if not the most recognizable names in the Twin Cities public relations business. And his path to success started with an ending. He was let go from his PR job at Toro Company and asked instead to provide those services as a contractor. Mona did so while attracting other clients and partners along the way. Dennis McGrath at first, and then a few years later, Scott Meyer and Sarah Gavin to form Mona, Meyer, McGrath, and Gavin. The four had similar backgrounds and found their skills and competencies fit perfectly as they provided PR to a growing number of clients. But they also shared a weakness that almost led to the firm's demise.
Well, we had professional accountants who assured us that we had never had an unprofitable month when we started in 1981 to 1986, 87. I was so proud of that until the day we ran out of money. And the way that happened is the four of us went out to lunch and we told our receptionist we were expecting a delivery. It happened to be from a printer. We said, we're coming back. We need to get it to a client in the afternoon. So we came back, saw the package and said, hey, we got the delivery from the printer. Nice going. She said, well, it wasn't quite that easy. And we said, well, what do you mean it wasn't that easy? And she said, well, he wouldn't leave until I paid him. We said, what? That doesn't make sense. And she said, and we said, how much was it? She said, well, it was like $27. And we said, well, what did you do? And she said, well, I had like $10, $12 in my billfold, but he wanted all the money. So she said, I remember I had the key to the Coke machine in my desk. So I went to the Coke machine and I got the rest of the money out of quarters. And we thought that was very resourceful, but we went right from there, I think it was to my office, and said, we've got a problem. And then we went in search of the problem. We found out we had a massive problem. We weren't billing people. We were doing the work, but we showed aging account receivables that were bogus. We hadn't sent out the bills. And thank God we had some good clients. I remember two of them, Toro and Control Data. And we called them and said, we're broke. And they both said, well, yeah, we wondered when you'd figure that out because you haven't sent us a bill for ages. And between them, on their own doing, they were able to go to their financial people and by cab in the next 24 hours send us about $50,000, which we used to pay our way out of that short-term problem. And then we went to work trying to find someone who had the same competencies in the back shop that we had in the front end.
The company flourished and was eventually acquired by PR giant Weber Shandwick International. Leadership remained local, with Mona serving as chairman through June of this year and Gavin still serving as president. Today, the Bloomington-based operation's 150 employees generate about $25 million a year in revenue. Mona says there have been plenty of triumphs along the way, such as helping to bring the Super Bowl to Minneapolis in 1992. And there have been plenty of trying times too, none of which compare with when Senator Paul Wellstone's plane crashed, killing him, his wife and daughter, and 5 others.
Yeah, the company who owned the airplane called, and that was one of the hardest things we've ever had to work on. There was just such a pervasive sadness, but through it all, there was a need to communicate. And so you found people who were just almost catatonic. They were so upset with what had happened, but there was the media with deadlines, and we had to rise above that, and we had to provide as much information as we could in a situation that was absolutely a tragedy. I don't ever remember being more tired at the end of a day as I was that day that his airplane went down.
After more than 3 decades of serving as a trusted confidant and counselor to people and companies with serious problems to solve, Mona says his best takeaway is how Mona, Meyer, McGrath, and Gavin grew into an organization that transformed the Twin Cities' reputation for public relations.
People who want a career in communications, in public relations, don't have to go to New York anymore. They'll work in New York. They'll go to London, and they may go to Beijing because that's part of the job, but they can still work here. And I'm so proud of the fact that the thing that we recognized early, the quality of the work that used to be done here and stay here is now being done here, but is showing up all over the country and all over the world.